Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my go-to makeup look using a lot of my items that are in my project pan. Usually if I have a bunch of stuff in my project pan, that is what I use for an everyday look. So this may change in a couple months and I'll probably do the video over again. But yeah, so everything in here I'm currently working through. And yeah, so let's get started. So the first thing that I do, if I'm doing this like after I get off work, I will take a baby wipe and just wipe my face down to get rid of anything that's on my face. And at this moment I am using my Rimmel Lasting Finish Face Primer. And this is, it's okay. It kind of, the consistency of it really reminds me of glue. And the smell a little bit, so I'm not really the biggest fan of it. And it makes me look super shiny. And it doesn't really do anything for my pores. So really the only thing that I'm trying to do with this at this moment is use it up so I can get it out of my collection. And I'm over halfway through with it, so hopefully that'll be pretty soon. So then I just take a baby wipe and wipe my hands off. And then I move on to my eyes to give that time to soak in. And I'm going to try and scoot forward a little bit because my camera will not zoom in when I'm filming like this. So, okay. Alright, so the eye primer that I've been using, and I actually really like this one, the only reason I'm trying to use it up and get rid of it is because it's old. This is the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. And I only use that much. And whoop, fix my mirror. This is probably my all-time favorite eyeshadow primer. I have other eye primers, but this is my oldest one, and I have a backup of this one that I just recently got. So I'm just trying to get through this one. It's starting to smell a little weird too. So next, what I like to do, where are my brushes? Okay. So next what I like to do is I have all of my brushes right here. I like to take my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush, and my all-time favorite all over the lid shade is this. This is the Wet n Wild. I think these are Color Icon singles. This is in the shade Brulee. This is my favorite all over shade. And it is only $1. Okay. I apologize if there's like long silences in here, but I don't want to edit anything out because I want you guys to see how long it actually takes me to do this. So next what I do is I go into my little self-made palette right here, and I go in with this color. This is from the L'Oreal Canyon Stone Quad. There's no name for this specific shade, but it's just, woo, a warm-toned brown. So I take my Real Techniques Domed Shadow Brush, just go in here, tap off the excess, and I look down a little bit and you see my crease right there. I go up a little bit, so like right there with my shadow. And this goes on my eye light enough to just basically be like a deepened transition shade. I've been sitting here for like 30 minutes waiting for my last video to upload to YouTube so I can delete it off of my phone so I have enough space to film this video because I don't know how long this is going to take. Okay, so the next shade that I take is also from the L'Oreal Canyon Stone Quad. It is just a deep brown, like almost a black brown. And I'm very surprised I haven't hit pan on this, but I use the Real Techniques base shadow brush. Tap off the excess, and I use this on the outer corner. And then just take whatever is left and pull that into the crease. And I really don't restrict where these colors go, meaning like if it ends up all the way on the inner corner, it doesn't really matter because it's going to get covered up with a lighter color later. So I can clean it up afterwards. Okay. I also take my little Wet n Wild crease brush that is very dirty, so excuse that, and I just take a very like deep brown, darker than the other brown. This is technically an eyebrow shade, but I don't use it. It gets all over my fingers when I use it. I just use it for my eyes. So I just take that, and then I just put this right on the outer corner to just deepen that up. Like that. And then, if I had another one of these, I would totally use that again, but my little Sephora rounded crease brush, just blend that out so it's not so harsh. Okay, and then for my lid, I like to take my little Revlon Illuminance Cream Shadow Quad in Skin Lights, and I like to take this color right here, just with my finger, and just apply this right here to about the center of the lid. And then I take my lid shade that I like to use, which is always Urban Decay Sin. This is probably the oldest shadow that I own. I have hit pan on it yet again. So I just take my finger with this and apply this over that shade. The only reason that I put that cream down is to make this color show up a little bit more. It is pigmented as it is, but the cream under it just helps. And then I just take any kind of blending brush and just blend out that seam in the middle so it's not so harsh. And then I take just this little pointed pencil brush by EcoTools and that same Sin color and put this under my brow bone. Okay, and then I don't do anything with the inner corner yet just because when I put concealer there, it covers it up, so I don't see a point in doing that right now. So now that my eyes are mostly done, I wait for mascara and brows until later because everything gets messed up. So the foundation that I've been using is the Revlon Color Stay Combination Oily Skin Foundation in 150 Buff. In order to keep this settled like this, what I do is I take a super skinny brush, dip it in there, and then apply it to my face. I used to only have to dip in once, but since there's not that much product left in here, I have to dip in twice. So I do half of my face at a time just because this foundation likes to set kind of fast. So I set that aside, and then I just use my Real Techniques blending sponge. And I am going to pause this just because it's pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so there's half of my face done. This foundation looks a lot more ghostly on camera than it actually does in person. This foundation used to be my shade, but for the last couple of weeks I've been getting quite a bit of sun, so my face is a little bit more tan. So this is my usual shade, but as you can see, it matches my neck a lot better. So now I'm going to do the other side. Alright, and now I blend. Okay, and there is the foundation finished. I just realized that I forgot a eye step that I like to do. Around the edges of this brown, I like to take an orange, like a light orange, and just, I think this is a large eyeshadow brush from Wet n Wild. I just take this, and I do this around the edges to kind of blend out that brown. It just gives it like a softer look. Okay, now for cream blush, I like to use my Revlon blush brush, and I'm using my Maybelline Dream Bouncy blush in Candy Coral. Looks like this, and I just take this, swirl it around, and just apply this. I don't use this just by itself, just because it doesn't show up enough for me to just use this as a blush. So I'm just using this like this to get through it and be able to get rid of it, because it's really, really old. Okay, and then to conceal, I use my Revlon Photo Ready concealers in 02 and 03. I use 02 specifically under my eyes, just because it's lighter than my skin tone. And I use my Real Techniques pointed foundation brush for this to blend this out, because it's pointed enough to get in the inner corner. And then I use this as a way to clean up the edges of my eyeshadow. Like so. And I will say that because that primer doesn't actually do anything for my pores, that my pores are still visible. So that's that. And then I use 03 for blemishes around my nose, any extra coverage that I need on my face that the foundation didn't cover. And I use that same pointed foundation brush to blend it out. Okay, and then to set all of that, I've been using my Neutrogena Mineral Shears Loose Powder Foundation in Natural Beige. This used to be too dark for me. Now it's actually my color because of my little tan that I've got going on. And if there's any powder on here, I just pat it on my face because I'm going to blend it out later. So with this, I use just this Real Techniques powder brush. Powder. And I just blend this out. Alright, and then to set under my eyes, I have been using my Makeover Essentials contour kit right here. Been using this yellow shade with my Real Techniques multitask brush. Get on the brush. This works as highlighting kind of my under eye area and then setting that concealer that I put under there. And now for contouring, I like to use my Wet n Wild little contour brush, and I use this middle shade right here. And this is like a very light, super light contour shade. Like, it barely shows up. But I'm not one for like extreme contouring, so I already have like a little dip right here, so I kind of just accentuate that a little bit, and then I just put a little bit on the tip and then just go down the sides of my nose. Okay, and then to bronze, I used the wrong brush. This is what I like to use for contouring, the Real Techniques contour brush. I like to use this as bronzer with my Revlon Photo Ready bronzer. So, just got that all over my shirt. So, I just go here. I don't take this down with my contour. I don't really see a point. Okay, and then for highlighter, I like to, actually I'm going to do blush real quick. The Wet n Wild Fergie blush in Brush with Brilliance is what I've been using with my Real Techniques blush brush. This is a super powdery blush, so I have to be careful with it. And then, if I end up using too much, which I didn't really this time, I just take my powder brush with whatever's left on it and just blend it out. For highlight, I'm using the Wet n Wild Fergie highlighter in Rose Champagne Glow with my Real Techniques stippling brush. Glow. And then I just take a little bit on my nose, over my lip. I do also like to use the Real Techniques Essential Foundation brush for highlighter if I don't want to have like a super feathery look, but I want feathery today. And then for my brows, I like to use the Maybelline Brow Define and Fill Duo in Blonde. I don't really use the powder side. I just use the little stick side, and I just kind of define my brows a little bit. Make them just a little bit darker. I'm not one for like super bold brows. And then I just use a clear brow gel to set them. I'm not sure how much time I have left on recording. Now for eyeliner, I use the Maybelline Line Stiletto in Brownish Black. I think this is almost done, but I just do a really simple line on my top lid. This eye is a little bit harder for me, and I don't know why. So, lined, and then I will take just a like smoky liner brush from, not Walmart, Wet n Wild, and that deeper brown shade that I used, and go on my lower lash line, like so. And then for mascara, I use the Rimmel Lycra Lash Extender mascara in black. Never fails. Every single time I use this, I poke myself in the eye. So let's see if I can not do that this time. Yay! And then just a little on the lower lash line. Alright, and then lipstick. I'm using my Clinique different lipstick in Tender Heart. And the Clinique different lipstick in Raspberry Glacé. I layer these just because it's a quicker way to get through them. So that is my completed look. Actually, no it's not. I still have to put my Sin on the inner corner. But yeah, so that is it. That is like my go-to makeup look at the moment. I got mascara right there. I'll get it off later. But yeah, so that's my look using my Project Pan items. I hope this was entertaining for you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.